if any of us cannot rely on these our elders, then there's no hope for the country. That was why we then became the people that stood behind Abiola, and we were not religious. We were just young people who wanted a better country. So when he died, all of them returned to the burial. They wanted to come and be showing off. We were upset and we had to ask some of them to leave. That you cannot betray somebody when he's alive and be celebrating him when he's dead. So we did all of the things we did without having any expectation for the future of Nigeria. I mean that Nigeria would be like this in 2018. Nobody will convince me that it would be like that. I thought that the fight I was starting at that time would end very soon. That I would have a job, I would have a country that is stable. But the betrayal they betrayed Abiola lasted Nigeria for another 20 years. But the sad part is that the people that betrayed Abiola were the ones that now benefited from his struggle. I remember Chief Olusegun Obasanjo going to Zambia to say that Abiola was not the Messiah. That is what he said. And today, because Abiola died, he was able to become president for another 8 years. He would not even mention Abiola's June 12 election throughout the 8 years. It was Jonathan that thought about Abiola and tried to name the University of Lagos after him. Obasanjo never tried to name anything after Abiola, not even a road, for 8 years. I took time to tell you this story so that some of you can understand where I'm coming from. That I might look very young. I have seen something in Nigeria. But the something that I saw in Nigeria is what has driven me to come out now to say that we, all of us, must rescue Nigeria. Nigeria cannot continue to be like this. And I know so many of you have been in London, I've been in the United Kingdom for a long time. But one thing that you must know is that no matter how long you are here, you can never be a British man. If this is another person's country, even when they give you the passport, inside there somewhere, they wrote it there that you are in Nigeria. And that's how they treat you. So the only way you can restore our dignity is to have a country that we can call our own. The country right now is not our own. It belongs to a few people. Nigeria has been servicing the greedy people for 58 years. It is time for Nigeria to start attending to the needy. Because you can never satisfy once the budget of Nigeria cannot satisfy one greedy man, even if you give them every year. But it can take care of all the people who are in need if only we pay attention to them. And you feel the pressure here. You feel the pressure of how bad Nigeria is, because most likely every time you get a phone call from Nigeria, you are afraid to pick the call. Because somebody is going to ask you to send them money that you yourself don't have. But we can change that direction now. And we don't need actually to do it in the way they do it in the old ways. We have to do it in a new way. And what is the new way? All of us that are Muslims, Christians, non-religious people should come together for the sake of humanity and save our country. Because without doing that, we will not have a country. I used to tell people, for those of you who know eBay, where they sell things, or Amazon, right?
Yeah.
It's a matter of time before they put Nigeria on eBay for sale. The way they are going about it. They have finished the country. But the interesting thing about Nigeria is that no matter what they do to it, the country doesn't finish. They will chop, 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 chop. Nigeria will still be there. There's no country that they chop like they chop in Nigeria that is still around. If our politicians come to this UK and they are allowed to manage the place, the subway or the tube will not work in another 6 months. There will be no electricity here in another 6 months. The schools will stop working if they come here. The people that Yoruba people call Jegudu, Kera. You know that there are some of you that came from Ilorin, Kwara State. You know the one here. Some of you from Lagos. You know the owner of the place. Ondo, Ekiti. All over the country. And I mentioned Kwara, by the way, because I have been fighting in Kwara in the last few months to break the stranglehold of the man who has turned Kwara into his private estate. And I'm saying that the people of Kwara must be free. The same I say of the entire country of Nigeria, that we must break their stranglehold away from these individuals who have enslaved us. But the problem with the slave master is that he must also stay with the slave. There's no way you can keep somebody enslaved. To keep him there, you have to be around him. So in a way, too, you are a slave. But we have to end this very terrible history of Nigeria. That is the reason why I presented myself. And I have come here today to seek for support. And I know that you are people of conscience. Yes, people of conscience. And I mean it. And that you will support this, our movement. Our movement is called Take It Back Movement. We want to take our country back from the old people who have been mismanaging the place, from the young people who are also part of the mismanagement of the place. Because sometimes you'll be hearing that, oh, it's young people, it's time for young people. No, it's not time for young people. It's time for responsible people to manage Nigeria. Because just as there are good old people and bad old people, there are also bad young people in Nigeria. You know, I like to mention states. I mentioned Kwara the other time. I also can mention Kogi, where we have young people. But they are not responsible young people. And Kogi is bleeding. And so I can go to every state in Nigeria like that and point to you where things are wrong. But I've come to London today to assure you that it can be done. Nigeria can become a great country. While some of you have been here in London, some other countries that were not as good as Nigeria have become greater countries. India have a lot of people in the UK. India has become so great that Nigeria spends $2 billion on medical tourism in India every year. Ghana, that is beside us, has become a better country. Nigeria spends about $1.7 billion paying school fees to Ghanaian universities. Nigeria has become such an embarrassment even to itself that it's the only country in the world that if you have electricity more than 6 hours, you start wondering, NEPA now. What happened to NEPA? Why haven't they taken the lights? And as I said in the church today, you will discover that even the prayer request when you are in Nigeria is different from your prayer request when you are in the UK. Because in Nigeria, you still have to be praying for lights to come. In the UK, you are praying to pay your bills, your light bills. And we can change all of that. And the young person sitting in front, standing in front of you, I have done it for the last 29 years. I've been an activist since 1989. One of the people that fought until Abiola was killed. I fought to ensure that that election was not the nullification of the election, which was done by a Muslim against another Muslim. That's why we should not be using religion. When it comes to these people, they are godless. That's the truth. They don't respect the religion when they want to do bad things. They don't fear God. Even though they use the same God to divide us. We must unite to save our country, because when the country is saved, we can truly practice what we believe. And we can be free to do it. They will be telling you today that Boko Haram was created for religious reasons. But today Boko Haram is killing more Muslims than they are killing any other religion. Even the Fulani Hausa herdsmen that they talk about, they are killing more people in Zamfara than they are killing anywhere else in Nigeria. Because these are criminal elements that have no religious background. They are not doing it because of religion, they are doing it to spite or in spite of religion. That is why we must tell the story properly so that we can solve the problem properly. I have to say that at the beginning, because I cover Boko Haram a lot, and I want to say it in front of you, sir, very well at the beginning. A lot of our Muslim brothers and sisters got defensive instead of being on the offensive against Boko Haram. They thought their religion was being attacked, and as a result, people mistook being defensive and defending their faith to mean that they support Boko Haram. No, it was because they got defensive because they didn't understand where they were being attacked by non-Muslims. But later, everybody realized that Boko Haram wasn't for Muslims, that they were against anybody for that matter. And that is why today their highest casualties are Muslims. Today they go after mosques more frequently than any other place. Anytime they see any religious gathering of Muslims, they go and bomb the place. And I knew this from the beginning, and when people were saying it, people who were from our own side of the world were saying that, oh, Boko Haram is an Islamist movement. And I said, it's not so. They claim to be because they want to use that to do what they need to, the havoc they want to wreak on society. So, I will end here by once again thanking you for offering me this great platform to talk to our people here. Please ask your people at home to obtain permanent voters cards, PVC. If you want to do it well, if they ask you for money, ask them to send you a copy of their PVC first before you send money. Or if you send money, ask them to use the money to go and obtain PVC first. Because that's the only tool we have left now to rescue Nigeria peacefully and put Nigeria on the path of progress, peace, and prosperity. If we don't do it, posterity will not forgive us. Because there's no comfort that we have here. As the Yorubas will say, Irorun, Igi, Weyel. So, as long as our people are comfortable at home, we too can be comfortable abroad. If they are not, we are just deceiving ourselves. So again, thank you very much, and I wish you the best. And by the time I come back here next time, I will be President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I promise to be back here. I will come back.
By the grace of God. Kabir, on behalf of the President General of the Association and this community, we also thank you for coming in. We appreciate your calling. May Allah be with you. As in Islam, we don't talk without asking. We want to one question from our mother. The first one to raise hand is Alaja Adelaja. And only one we want. Only one. Alaja Emebiru, I want to relocate Emebiru. So those are the two questions. Then we'll give prayer. Inshallah. Please.
Yes, Mr. President, you're waiting. Yeah, talk loudly. I don't think I need that. Okay. Mr. President, you're waiting. I forgot what it takes to rescue Nigeria.
Yes.
I would like to know.
Yes. I have, as I've told you, 29 years. By next year, I would have been fighting for a better Nigeria for 30 years. The democracy we have today in Nigeria, which started 19 years ago, it will also be 20 years next year, coincidentally. I stood with others on the streets of Nigeria fighting against the military for 10 years, between 1989 and 1999. I left Nigeria in 1999 and relocated to the US because I didn't want to stay around. I had become sick, having been abused, been in detention 8 different times, beaten up, tortured by the police, soldiers, expelled twice from the university. I'm just telling you that if you needed someone who is a Teflon, you have it in me. If you needed someone who has intellectual capacity, you have it in me. I did my degree in Nigeria at the University of Lagos, spent 6 years instead of 4 because of expulsion and political crisis. I went to the US where I studied and obtained a master's degree in public administration at Columbia University in the US. I started the newspaper known as Sahara Reporter while I was there, and it's been around for 12 years. And that newspaper is an equal opportunity offender of the rich, powerful, and corrupt political class in Nigeria. And I've been fighting for a better Nigeria. I have exposure, and I have done a lot of interventions, by the way, that has protected Nigeria from the political class. Apart from fighting the military, we were the ones who used our tools to defeat the total agenda of our brother in Ota, our father in Ota. We used the same method, yes, we used the same method to bring to power a minority person in 2010, when President Yar'Adua was sick and a cabal led by his wife was holding Nigeria to ransom. We broke Nigeria free from that, and that was how a minority from the Niger Delta region became the president of Nigeria for the first time, Goodluck Jonathan. We made that happen. And after that, 4 years later, or 5 years later, it was the monitoring of the election that we did that made it possible for a dominant party, PDP, to lose election to a new party. So the party-to-party transition that happened in Nigeria was made possible by our publication. Reason was simple. We were able to publish the first 10 state results the same day of the election. The way they lose election in Nigeria is when the night creeps into it, they change the results. But because of that, and because they couldn't change the results, the PDP sent a minister, his name is Orubebe, to go to INEC. He sat on the floor and said, "Stop. I cannot accept this result."
Yes.
But if that hadn't happened, we may not even have had Nigeria. And now,
yes,
if that election had been rigged against the man who is there today, this is our father who comes to London a lot, President Buhari. But I just want to let you know, because I have to read my history to you. Sometimes my looks can be a little bit deceptive, and my haircut.
Thank you very much. Brother
Anyway, I think you can hear me clearly.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, like, personally, I think you came out at a very wrong time. Sorry, don't be offended. Yeah, you know, the thing is this, like, I really admire you. I've followed your work for so long. But the thing now is that if you look at, you know, political happenings all over the world, in 2010, before 2010, when David Cameron took over, you know, even though they were the opposition party in the UK, he was saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do when I get to the to power. And at the end of the day, you know, when he got there, he discovered that what he was seeing from outside is far more than you know, what he thought was really happening. And that's someone that was, like, I think he was in what they call the private, you know, among the MPs that have information on the running of the government. In your own case, like Buhari as well, they were saying, okay, Jonathan, let get rid of Jonathan, 6 months we're going to have electricity and these and things like that. But what I'm trying to say here, you know, it's always difficult for the opposition, even who are very close, to the ruling party, to have a a clear understanding of what's really going on, because you know the ruling party always hides some things from them. So those are the ones that are already in in power or maybe in opposition. So but now you are coming from I'm sorry to say nowhere. You don't have information about key things. So and then I don't even really know your manifesto, because I look at one a time when you went somewhere in the north, and there was this activist lady, this Zainab, I can't remember the other name, said, okay, Sowore, tell me, don't just tell me I want to be president, tell me what you want to do. And the thing is, truly, Buhari is not doing so much, but at least is on a little track. Now, listening to your analysis on him, like when you came somewhere to the UK, like a few weeks back, he's not really doing it very well, but at least he's on a track. But you're from outside, so how are you going to? You don't have the information.
Thank you.
So,
okay. Thank you very much.
I understand what you are laboring to say, and I'll put it very succinctly to you. You think I am an outsider because I have not been in government. No, that's not true. I'm actually very knowledgeable about Nigeria to the extent that I know, as I'm standing here, how much Nigeria makes on a daily basis. Unfortunately, I also know how much is stolen from Nigeria on a daily basis. So you cannot say that that is not knowledge. You see, the way you are expressing yourself is the way a minister expressed himself to me on a radio show in Ibadan. They called me inconsequential. Because they looked at me and said, who is this boy? But let me explain something to you. The governance in Nigeria is not as complex as you think. The problem is that we don't have people who understand how simple it is to solve complex problems. That's the problem with Nigeria. Even President Buhari that you are talking about came, when he left power, was kicked out of power. He had not gone to university. He has not been on the board of any public companies since he left in 1985. Well, he came back and you admit that he's trying. But where Nigeria today is that we cannot be working what we call wuru to the answer. We cannot be working with somebody who is trying when we can be doing very well. The problem, let me break it down to you, is that our leaders of today, they are thinking in analog manner, whereas the rest of the world has reached a digital path. So the way to solve our problem is to put digital solutions to digital problems. Don't confront them with analog solutions. What is it that is so difficult to govern in a country that you cannot finish the construction of a road between Lagos and Ibadan for 20 years? Never. That's how long they have been trying to fix Lagos-Ibadan highway. And when I went to Ibadan to say that we can do it in 1 month, people said, no, it's not possible. Because I had to break it down to them that you can do 4 kilometers day and night, and by 1 month, the rest of the road will have been done. How many kilometers is Lagos to Ibadan highway? 120 kilometers. In Scotland, they built the wrong way overnight. Nigeria took 5 months. Why are things so difficult? Well, let me answer finally, sir, because I know you have no time. Some of the campaign manifestos that I have been campaigning on, the government is starting to implement it. Last week, they said they want to increase worker salary to 66,000 naira. It used to be 18,000. I said I will increase it to 100,000. Because what has been depriving workers of that salary are the greedy thieves in our Senate, who are collecting 13.5 million every month for doing nothing. 200 million naira constituency allowance for doing nothing. Is that one rocket science to govern a country like that by stopping thieves? Right? And if it's a rocket science, I'm a rocket scientist. Yes. That's the thing. They said they are going to be paying coppers, which we promised to be paying 50,000 per month. Now they have said that they are willing to increase their allowances. Lagos-Ibadan expressway that we were complaining about last week, they have released the rest of the money for it, because we have been talking about how easy it is to do it. But it's not only Lagos-Ibadan highway that has problems. There's a bad road between Kano and Kaduna too. It's the worst in the country, and that is the reason why we cannot wait for a President Buhari who is trying. No, we need a leader who is a doer, not a leader who is on trial. That's the truth, and I will say it anywhere, because his coming to power has been attributed to us too. But it is time that we help him retire, because we cannot be doing trial in governance, trial and error as they call it, because the kids need to go to school, and we are trying with their, when we are trying and doing trial and error, we are messing with their future. Hospitals need to be put in that place so that the president himself don't need to be coming here to brush his teeth in London. That's what other countries do. That is why this society here works. So I know we don't have time. If you want to engage me, please.
You know, you got something wrong. I wouldn't call you because I have to say something to you. I wouldn't, you know, because when you came out, you know, you had my vote, but my face just with, you know, how are you going to do it? But what I just stood up to say is that I watch your, you know, your altercation with Barrister Bayo Shitu. I will never call you inconsequential like you just said. No, that's not what I was trying to say.
I'm saying that by
I will
saying
never address it that way.
thank you.
Anyway, I'm happy you have to thank everyone, and you expect that even more than that. Thank you very much. And you know the reason why we don't take more questions, because we have given him 10 to 15 minutes, and we're supposed to leave here 3:15, and this is 3:20. Most of us are sitting down. We're supposed to be in a meeting. We call it. I will turn to Professor Baderi to give remark and closing prayer.
Anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Sowore, for coming. I really appreciate you. I mean, your coming indicates that you know that there's a community here.
Yes.
And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I believe we'll be meeting somewhere else very soon, because I know you are coming somewhere else very soon where I will be. But as the gentleman there said, I think, I mean, you mentioned that we are in the digital age now, and there's a lot of knowledge around. I mean, people are aware, and one good thing about Nigeria is, I mean, most Nigerians today know what they want. I will also, I mean, I'm not saying perhaps maybe whether we are adopting you or not. What we are saying is, I mean, we really commend your effort.
Yeah.
And we commend all those. You have every right to want to seek this position. And we believe all others who are also doing the same. But I think what will really help, what will help you and help us and those who listen to you, is, as he said, perhaps maybe if you could have a succinct manifesto for people, I mean, for people to know, I mean, what you really feel Nigeria needs at this point in time and how you are going to achieve it. I think this is what everybody is looking for. We know that the country, as you said, is not where we want it to be. And as I mentioned earlier, I mean, people know what they want now. People here, we know what we want. And religion is, yes, close to our hearts. But the truth of the matter is, I mean, we do not believe in the fact that religion should divide us. If we see a strong candidate who is able to convince, good manifesto, on point, and we see that when we are convinced that this person, yes, is an achiever, can do this exactly what we believe in. I mean, I believe our people here will give you your vote. And I mean, from what you've said, I don't think that has come out now. So perhaps maybe when you are coming back again, it will be better to have a succinct manifesto and also how you want to achieve. Thank you for coming, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
We pray that, I mean, Allah God gives you the strength.
Amen.
And also the ability to be able to continue.
Amen.
I mean, this is exactly what will make Nigeria great, for people to come out and to be able to challenge the system and to tell us what they want to do. So continue to pray for you and others. kọ́nà kó máa ṣọ́ yín lọ kó máa ṣọ́ yín bọ̀.
Amen.
ṣe ń fò lókè tẹ́rin lójú títì lórí ọkọ̀ ojú orin ọlọ́run máa fi ṣe rẹ̀ ṣọ́ yín.
Amina.
And all of us as well bá a ṣe fẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà ò rí lójú ẹ̀mí wa ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀.
Amen.
We pray that in our time and in our children's time may Nigeria be better than this.
Amen.
Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. صلى الله عليه وسلم.